Welcome back to my channel. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and click the notification button so you wouldn't miss any of our adventures. The title of today's story is called Starlit Memories. Commander Ethan Hale had always dreamed of the stars. From a young age, the mysteries of the cosmos captivated him, and he dedicated his life to exploring them. After years of rigorous training and countless hours spent in the cold expanse of space, he was chosen for a mission that promised to be the pinnacle of his career, an exploratory mission to the distant planet of Zara, located in a solar system light-years away from Earth. Zara was unlike anything Ethan had ever imagined. Its sky was a deep violet, and the landscape was dotted with bioluminescent plants that pulsed with light, casting an otherworldly glow over everything. The air was rich with a sweet scent that reminded him of flowers from Earth, yet distinctly alien. The planet was teeming with life, but it was the Zarans themselves, an intelligent, humanoid species that truly fascinated him. They were tall, with skin that shimmered like stardust, and eyes that glowed softly in the dim light. Their voices were melodic, and they communicated not just with words, but with emotions that could be felt like a warm breeze. Among them was Lyra, a Zaran with a grace and beauty that took Ethan's breath away. She was unlike anyone he had ever met, curious, kind, and with a wisdom that seemed to span the ages. As the weeks turned into months, Ethan found himself drawn to Lyra in a way he couldn't explain. They spent countless hours together, exploring the planet, sharing stories of their worlds, and learning from each other. Despite the vast differences between them, a bond formed, a deep, undeniable connection that transcended language and species. It wasn't long before they fell in love, their hearts intertwined under the endless Zaran sky. But Ethan knew his time on Zara was limited. His mission would soon come to an end, and he would have to return to Earth. The thought of leaving Lyra behind filled him with a sorrow he had never known. On the day of his departure, they stood together on a cliff overlooking the vast, glowing forests of Zara. Lyra's eyes shimmered with unshed tears as she placed her hand over Ethan's heart, their connection stronger than ever. "Promise me," she whispered, her voice trembling, "that you will remember me." Ethan's heart ached as he pulled her close. "I'll never forget you, Lyra. You will always be a part of me, no matter where I am." With a final, lingering kiss, Ethan boarded his spacecraft, leaving behind the love of his life on a planet light-years away. Back on Earth, life went on. Ethan was hailed as a hero, his mission celebrated as a monumental success. He married a human woman, Sarah, and together they built a life, raising 2 beautiful children. But no matter how much time passed, Ethan could never forget Lyra. Late at night, when the world was quiet, he would sit alone, staring up at the stars, his mind drifting back to the violet skies of Zara. One night, consumed by memories, he named a distant star after her, a tiny point of light that would forever remind him of the love he left behind. He never spoke of Lyra to anyone, not even to Sarah, who sensed that there was a part of Ethan that always remained distant, lost in the stars. Years passed, and life on Earth moved forward. But on Zara, something incredible had happened. Unknown to Ethan, Lyra had become pregnant after he left. She gave birth to a child, half human, half Zaran, a beautiful boy with his father's eyes and his mother's ethereal glow. She named him Calum, after the heavens, and raised him with stories of his father, the brave explorer from a distant world. As Calum grew, he became more curious about the planet his father came from. Lyra knew that one day he would seek out his origins, but she cherished the time they had together, knowing that the universe had a way of bringing those who were meant to be together back to each other. Back on Earth, Ethan's children had grown, and he found himself spending more and more time gazing at the night sky, lost in thoughts of what could have been. One night, as he sat by the window, staring at Lyra's star, a sudden, inexplicable feeling washed over him, a feeling of warmth, of love, and of connection. as if Lyra was reaching out to him across the vast expanse of space. He didn't know it yet, but on Zara, Calum had made a decision. He would find his father, no matter what it took. The stars, after all, held more secrets than anyone could ever imagine, and the bond between parent and child was one that could never be broken. And so, as Ethan sat under the Earth's night sky, thinking of the love he had lost, a new chapter was beginning, a chapter where the past and the present would collide, and where the love he thought was lost forever would find its way back to him, across the stars. Calum had grown up on Zara with a deep yearning to understand his origins. His mother, Lyra, had told him countless stories of Earth and the brave astronaut who had explored their planet. As he matured, his human features became more pronounced. His father's strong jawline, the shape of his eyes, and even the subtle expressions that mirrored a man he had never met. Though he was loved on Zara, Calum felt different. He was caught between two worlds, one that welcomed him as a miracle, and another he had never seen, but felt deeply connected to. The stars whispered to him at night, filling him with a sense of purpose. He knew he had to find his father, Ethan Hale. With his mother's blessing, Calum prepared for the journey. It was a perilous endeavor. The technology on Zara was advanced, but space travel to Earth required precision. Lyra had kept some of Ethan's equipment, including detailed star maps and navigation tools. Using these, Calum fashioned a spacecraft capable of making the journey. The day of his departure was bittersweet. Lyra embraced her son tightly, her heart heavy with the knowledge that this might be the last time she saw him. "Remember, Calum," she whispered, "you carry both worlds within you. Be proud of who you are." "I will, Mother," Calum replied, his voice steady despite the storm of emotions swirling within him. "I'll find him. I'll find my father." The journey to Earth was long and arduous. Calum navigated through asteroid fields, dodged solar flares, and relied on the ancient star maps to guide him. All the while, he dreamed of the moment he would meet the man he had heard so much about, the man who had left his mark on Zara and on his heart. When Calum's spacecraft finally approached Earth, he was filled with awe. The planet was vibrant, teeming with life, and covered in shades of blue and green that Zara's violet hues could never replicate. But beneath his wonder was a growing anxiety. Would his father recognize him? Would he be welcomed on this strange world? As Calum landed in a secluded field, he felt the weight of his journey. He activated a beacon, sending out a signal encoded with information only his father would recognize. It didn't take long for a response. Ethan Hale, now retired from space missions, but still respected in the scientific community, received the strange transmission. His heart pounded as he decoded it. The signal was unmistakably Zaran. Ethan drove to the location with a mix of fear and anticipation. When he saw the figure standing by the sleek alien spacecraft, he froze. The young man was tall, with glowing skin and eyes that mirrored his own. Ethan knew immediately who he was. "Calum?" Ethan's voice trembled with disbelief. Calum turned, his heart skipping a beat at the sight of the man he had longed to meet. "Father," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. The two stood there, staring at each other, overwhelmed by the moment. Finally, Ethan stepped forward, pulling Calum into a tight embrace. "I never knew," Ethan said, his voice breaking. "I never knew you existed." Back at the Hale household, Sarah and their two children, Emily and Noah, were stunned by Ethan's revelation. He had told them about his mission to Zara, but they never imagined it would result in something like this. When Ethan brought Calum home, the atmosphere was tense. Sarah, a kind-hearted woman, but protective of her family, struggled to accept the presence of an alien, even one who was partly human. Emily and Noah were fascinated by Calum, but they were also wary. He looked different. His skin shimmered in the light, and his eyes seemed to see through to their souls. There were whispered conversations late at night, concerns about what this meant for their family, and how the world would react if they knew. Despite the cold reception, Calum remained respectful and kind. He wanted to prove to them that he was no threat, that he only wished to know his father and the family he had been denied. He stayed in a small guest room, trying to adjust to the customs of Earth, which were so different from the harmonious life on Zara. Then the unthinkable happened. One evening, while the family was out at a nearby park, a terrible accident occurred. Emily, distracted by her curiosity about Calum, wandered too close to the edge of a steep cliff overlooking a river. The ground beneath her feet gave way, and she plummeted towards the rushing waters below. Without hesitation, Calum sprang into action. His Zaran reflexes were far superior to any humans. He leaped off the cliff, his movements a blur of grace and precision, catching Emily mid-air before she hit the water. With incredible strength, he swam against the powerful current, carrying her safely to the shore. The family watched in shock and relief as Calum emerged from the river, cradling Emily in his arms. He laid her down gently on the grass, his glowing hands hovering over her, and within moments, her frightened cries turned to calm breaths as he used his Zaran abilities to soothe her. This heroic act began to soften the family's hearts. Sarah, who had been the most resistant, saw in Calum the same protective nature that Ethan had always shown. She realized that this young man, though different in appearance, was part of their family in a way that transcended bloodlines. Over the next few weeks, Calum continued to prove himself. He helped Noah with his school projects, using his advanced knowledge to impress and teach him. He assisted Sarah with difficult household tasks, lifting heavy objects as if they weighed nothing. And with Ethan, he shared long, deep conversations about the stars, about Zara, and about the love Ethan had for his mother, Lyra. One evening, as the family sat around a campfire in their backyard, staring up at the night sky, Sarah finally spoke the words that had been on her mind. "Calum," she began, her voice soft, "I'm sorry for how we treated you. It was wrong of us to judge you based on your differences. You've shown us what it means to be brave, kind, and loving. You're as much a part of this family as anyone." Calum's eyes shimmered with emotion as he looked at her and then at Ethan, who gave him an encouraging nod. "Thank you," he replied, his voice full of gratitude. "It means more to me than you can ever know." From that night on, Calum was no longer an outsider. He became a brother to Emily and Noah, a son to Sarah, and a proud reflection of Ethan's legacy. But even as he embraced his life on Earth, Calum never forgot his mother, Lyra, or the planet of Zara. One night, as the family lay under the stars, Ethan pointed to a particular bright one, twinkling against the dark canvas of space. "That's Lyra's star," he said, his voice filled with reverence. "I named it after her, so I would never forget the love I left behind." Calum stared at the star, feeling a deep connection to both his parents. He knew his journey was far from over, but he also knew that, no matter where he was in the universe, he had a family who loved him on Earth and on Zara. And as he gazed up at the sky, he silently promised his mother that he would return to her one day, bringing with him the stories of his life, of his father, and of the love that had bridged the gap between worlds. Goodbye for now, and see you in our next adventure.